Good evening, risk enjoyers. Have dinner right, 'cause it's time for the 48-hour analysis. Basically, in this video, we're going to look at the current skins in the Rust store and make comparisons to previous Rust store skins to get a good idea in regards to how much will each of these skins sell by next Thursday. And then knowing that, we'll then question, are these skins still holding up to being perfectly fine investments, or are there any potential problems that you need to be aware of? So sit back and relax. I'm going to start yapping. Right, first 24 hours of sales. Absurd, right? Do you see how high these are? 24,000, 24,000, 24,000, 14,000. What? Now, the sales that we see here for the first 24 hours were like even greater than the skins you see here after 7 days in the Rust store. It's absolutely ridiculous. So, okay, that's a bit concerning. Yes, it is. But in regards to those backpacks, the first ever marketable backpack skins we've had added to the game, I've actually talked about that specifically quite a lot. You can watch this video if you haven't seen it yet. But when we get items that become like skinnable, the initial skins that come out get a lot of interest and a lot of people buy them. And what happens is as more and more and more options are produced and of course accepted into the game, they tend to lose interest. And that of course leads to not very good investments, does it? No. And with the sales that we're currently seeing here, with the first 48 hours of sales, you can clearly see it's only going even crazier. So back over to here. With what we see here for the first 24 hours of sales, these backpacks, it is absurd, and I had to go pretty far back just to find something that could compare to this quite nicely, just to get a good idea of how much the No Mercy backpack would even reach. Yes, the hard suit isn't selling as much, but that amount after the first 24 hours of sales is really ridiculous still. So, okay, we'll talk more about that in regards to what might happen next to them. And, of course, we'll talk about all of these skins individually, trying to figure out how much they'll reach by next Thursday. So, all right then, back over to here. First 48 hours of sales. Breathe it in. Yes, Blackout Burlap has surpassed the No Mercy backpack, but I want to talk about the backpacks first. As I said, I've already talked about them, so I'm just going to go quickly, briefly explain my thoughts in regards to that, and, of course, the estimates with the sales. Estimate. Anyway, let's just make that quick comparison then. So with the first 24 hours of sales, the instant thing I could remember was the Neon Small Med Storage. That did almost 26,000 subscribers. And we know where that ended up at after, its tenure in the Rust store after a whole week. As we hop over to here, that reached over 50,000 subscribers. That is pretty insane. Now, more specifically, if we could go back over to here, when you look at these sales, we obviously slow down a bit. So 24 hours of sales, you can see that did just over 24,000 subscribers, and now the next day we've only got another 11,000. Still very good, but it's starting to slow down a bit. Will this actually reach 50,000 subscribers? That was my rough estimate. It is starting to slow down, but I still stand by my point of it looks like it's matching up quite nicely with what we saw with this storage right there. And one of the main points I was talking about with these skins, as you can see with both of them I'm talking about now, if we do start seeing more options appear for backpacks, because right now we only have 3, we have a Twitch drop in these 2 skins, there will be problems. They have been bought out a lot. And by default, I do believe a lot of people simply bought it because they wanted it, but I still believe a lot of people bought it with the pure intent to sell. AKA, we're going to be seeing a lot of stock on the Steam market, a lot of stock on third-party sites. People will, try and undercut each other to make a nice quick sale. But I don't think we're going to see the worst of it until we reach Easter time. I think over the course of the next 2 months, these will actually do a fairly decent job of retaining their value, but by then, a few months' time later, I think we'll have a few more skins, and then people will probably rather look at the newer ones than these ones. Like, maybe we'll see another white backpack, maybe we'll get another metallic backpack, maybe we get a nice colourful backpack, maybe we get a Christmas one, wouldn't be surprised by that. But the point I'm trying to get across is, when more options appear, these lose interest, and then of course people just feel like, you know what, I'll just sell it and then go spend that money on other things, and then that's when problems really start to arise. And that most likely will be happening, as I said, around Easter time, February, March, April. That period of time is where we see quite a bit of a drop-off. If I could just quickly show you from earlier this year, January, 90,000, February drops off, kind of sticks around that, then we enter summertime and it rises back up again. It's kind of like the autumn-fall seasonal dip, except with the recent autumn-fall seasonal dip, it didn't even happen. Not really. We didn't see that much of a drop. October and November have been amazing. I've said that like far too much already, but we peaked at 158,000 today. It's nearly the end of the month. Lots of people enjoying the game. Well, there you go. Anyway, so yes, it might not be an immediate bad problem, but they are being bought a lot, and it feels like an inevitability. eventually they are probably going to drop off because there's just going to be far too many of them in circulation. And it's all due to the behaviour of these are the first ever skins to be introduced. So if you want to hear me go a lot more in depth talking about that, then consider watching this video. And of course, you'll probably get a much better understanding of what I've tried to say within the past 2 or so minutes. Right then, so we can now talk about the Blackout Burlap now. Just to clarify, this, I do believe it can still reach 50,000 subscribers by Thursday. But I think I'm going to kind of refine it to 45 to 50,000 subscribers. But this hardsuit backpack, I'm just going to give you a very generalized 30,000 subscribers. That's what I was estimating yesterday. I am standing by that point. So cool. Now that we look over to here with the Blackout Burlap, these were pretty much selling the exact same amount as this, and still are. So with the Blackout Burlap, again, I'm thinking it's going to end up like, this, the Neon Small Med Storage with over 50,000 subscribers. Now, here's a point that I want to get across to all of you. Take a look and see how this is on the Steam market right now, because as you can see, it's got 330 listings at the moment, and, well, that's quite a lot, especially when you consider with all these skins on the Steam market, on average, we only see most skins having around 100 quantity. That seems to be the average amount listed for most skins. That right there has over 300. That's a bit absurd. And this is a problem that we are going to be expecting with this backpack and the burlap clothing. So, with what we see here, it's going to potentially end up with over 50,000 subscribers. And remember, subscriber count is the bare minimum sales. We know right now that at least 35,878 people have bought that Blackout Burlap shirt. We just don't know how many they bought each. I'm pretty sure the vast majority bought a pair of these for themselves. Totally understandable. Does look nice. But a lot of people are like, it's nighttime camouflage. Yes, mate. At night time, you can't see anything anyway. All right, so anyway, if people want to, just wear it and enjoy it because they like it, by all means. Blackout's been out for a very long time, the collection that is, and as time has gone on, Blackout collection has done very, very, very nicely. By default, people just assume this is going to be a-okay, and maybe it will. Maybe the demand for the skins is just going to be totally fine, and everything will work out. But initially, I am going to be concerned. These are selling at 99 cents. They are the cheapest available price, and very approachable, very affordable. I am not surprised if there are people out there that probably bought 1,000 of each of these skins and are hoping to try and flip them eventually. Now, we did have this issue from last year, so I'm going to quickly go this way. So I'm going to go on the other tab that I have. I want to show you May 18, complete the sets. We had those whiteout boots, didn't we? Now these, they sold an absolutely absurd amount. Obviously it's higher than 50,000 subscribers, but it's still a lot. That's the main point I'm trying to get across. But also take notice, whilst it's 64,000 subscribers, STMM assumes it's probably actually 84,000 of them in circulation. Now, when this obviously became marketable, there was like a few thousand listings, and the price just kept going down, 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 down. It went all the way down to about, at worst, maybe about 50 cents. It went half its price. But as time went on, because the demand was actually still there, it gradually went all the way back up to its restore price. This took 18 months, all right? So I can't help but assume the behaviour of what we saw here could still potentially happen to these two skins here. The amount of sales is absurd. It's not looking like it's going to be as bad compared to the whiteout boots, but still close enough. If anything, I should probably look at what happened at the very beginning of this year for June 4, 2024. What did we see? Do you remember Legacy Kevlar? Do you remember when people saw these hoodie and pants and just thought, oh, that'd be fine? The collection was progressing quite nicely, but with the amount that we saw these sell and these sell compared to this, it's far too much. Far too much. And look at them now. They are still struggling after almost a year. Even whilst we have a lot of people playing the game, which by default you'd assume more people play the game, more demand for skins, better skin prices, they are still struggling because there's just far too many of them in circulation. They have more than 100 quantity on the Steam market, that's for sure. Yep. And look at the amount of listings there, 25, 30. That ain't good. Big walls being put up. Oh dear, oh dear. So it's going to be a struggle for them to rise back up in price. Please be wary. Please be cautious. I do think eventually it will be perfectly fine. You know what? Initially it might be perfectly fine, but it's that Easter period, February, March, April, when we see less people playing the game and they're like, you know what, I'm not going to play for a while, I'm just going to shift my skins onto the Steam market, that is where I think we'll start to notice some problems, all right? Even the whiteout boots took a while to gradually go down in price to their worst point, okay? You can see that took a good few months, but eventually it went back up. How you approach that is up to you. I've given you the information, but this is both looking like they're going to do at least 50,000 subscribers. As they keep selling more and more, yeah, it at the very least looks like it's going to get very close to that amount. Cool. So we've said more than enough there. Now, let's go over and start talking about these skins over here. Sorry for the rambling, but all that information had to get passed on. Now it's going to be a little bit more approachable. So I'm actually going to look at both of these skins here, the Tempered Armored Door and the Thundergold SAP, because they have very similar numbers of sales here. And as you can see, it's still very close right here as well, 10,376, 10,378. So let's go look at both of those skins and try and see if we can have a nice little comparison. So I had to go quite far back. You might notice I also didn't look at the Halloween skins because I'm not sure if they're like a good thing to compare to. So as I look over, I remember the September 5 Rust Store. Plenty of skins here after the first 24 hours of sales, had like 7,000 subscribers. And I go over to here, we have the Neon Oil Rig Garage Draw from the week before. So you know what? I think that might be a fairly reasonable pair of Rust Stores to compare to. So let's go ahead and do that. Sorry about this. Hedge, why did you say that like 3 times? Brain thinking too many words all at the same time. As you can see, Neon Oil Rig, that reached up to 18,000 subscribers. Cool. And then we go to September 5 and look at all of these skins here. 17,700, 16,000, 16,000, just under 16,000. Do you know what? I reckon 16 to 18,000 subscribers is probably a perfectly fine amount to assume that these two skins would likely end up at. Now, with the Thundergold SAP, I thought it might be a fair bit tame initially when I first saw it with all of these skins ahead of it, but 16 to 18 is it's quite a lot. But if you look at all the pistols, for example, you may recall that this year we've had some very notable collection continuations. We've had Blackout, for example, and that's the one thing I want to compare to. I do assume a lot of people do happen to like black pistols that look ever so nice and cool with its nice designs. And of course, we have the Thundergold SAP with its ever so nice gold trim white pearlescent design. Now, I did make the comparison with the No Mercy SAP, and that's worked out ever so nicely ever since that's come out. And as we go back over to here, how's this going to hold up? Well, that did 13,000 subscribers. This projected to have 16 to 18,000. Now, we should take into account more people kind of playing the game at the moment. Rust is still growing as more and more people keep playing. The demand for skins is, of course, going to keep going higher and higher. The amount of sales we see every single week is gradually going to keep increasing. With what we see here, I still think it's going to work out perfectly fine as a reliable thing to consider putting your money onto. Basically, SAPs, take a quick look at all of them. When times are really good, they all turn out quite nicely. They all turn out becoming quite nice investments. They just don't really go up in price that much. In short, at best, most of these SAPs will probably go up like 20 or 30%. That's it. That's probably still perfectly fine for some of you. For me, I'm totally fine with that. As we approach January time, I'm going to just start selling ridiculous amount of skins. But if I could invest into certain skins that look like they're going to be perfectly fine to gradually rise up in price, at least retain their value for the foreseeable future and whatnot, I'm fine with that. And then I can sell so many more skins. So, okay, keep an eye on this. Next Wednesday night, it is abnormal. We can, approach it, try and figure out, okay, how much might we want to offer for it and whatnot. But let's see how many it sells first. All right. Then, of course, Tempered Armored Door as well, 16 to 18,000 subscribers as well. Another Tempered Deplorable. But we do have a little bit of a dilemma. There are no more Tempered Deplorables in the workshop that could potentially be picked. Mr. Milho Frito quite literally has to go and produce some more. What else could be made? Well, an Armored Double Door? Water Purifier? A rug? But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we maybe see like a wooden door or wooden double door. Chair would be cool. Table would be nice. I keep saying that, I know. But a locker? A locker would be pretty cool. Just pointing it out. Actually, no, that would be a very nice idea. What about a furnace? Either way, there needs to be more skins to help out that. if it's going to do 16 to 18,000 subscribers, let's just do a comparison to all the armored doors that came out somewhat recently. First of all, you might notice, how many of them are actually in the positive? Yeah, that's a problem. One, and yeah, that's it. That's over the past 3 years. Maybe some of these skins might climb back up as we approach January time. That very likely could happen. But as of now, one. And then you look and you see 18,000 subscribers, 12,000, 15, 16,000, 13, 14,000, 17,000, 14, 15,000, and 15,000. This looks like it's going to be selling more than most of these. Do you think it's going to do a good job of becoming a nice investment? I am worried for it. Now, with these tempered deplorables, you might notice that these two, right over to here, they have gone down in price. Now, these have improved, but they were a bit lower than that. Tempered skins, they do a pretty decent job retaining their value, but the deplorables, they tend to do a better job than like overall. I'm going to sit here and say that tempered armored door, I'm still cautious. I am still cautious. I will be approaching it. It is an abnormal buy order, but $3, I wouldn't be surprised if it drops off Blurt's Rust store price. And with the amount that I've sold, yeah. Now, of course, I'll be approaching it on Wednesday. I want to see how many sales happen by then. Then, of course, I'll make my considerations, but I'm not feeling super confident. That'll be my answer. Now, let's talk about the Glacial Visage Sleeping Bag. So, hopping back over to here and looking at the first initial 24 hours of sales, 6,000 subscribers. Didn't we have that quite recently? Yeah, Commando SAR. You know what? That's probably a very good shout. So as I go back to the previous week and take a look, what do we see? That ended up doing about 14,000 subscribers almost. So I think 13 to 14k is a perfectly fine amount to consider. Right then. So if that only does about 13 to 14,000 subscribers, let's just take a look at all the sleeping bags that came out over the past 2 years and try and see, is that high or is that low? And I'm going to sit here and tell you, I think that's like average for a sleeping bag. That's ever so bright and very cool to look at. So, yeah, 7,000, 15,600, 17,400, 12,000, almost 16,000, almost 9,000, just over 9,000, 11,000, 7,000, 9,000. Yeah, I'm going to be brutally honest with you. Oh, yeah, it actually goes up higher here. 11,500, 14,700, 16,100, 15,000, 21,000, 20,000. Yeah. I'm going to sit here and say, I think that actually might look pretty interesting. Oh, yes, indeed. With only 13 to 14,000 of these as subscriber counts, I think this might have a pretty interesting future ahead of it. Of course, with a lower subscriber count, you'd expect less listings in the future. It's bright, it's noticeable, it's an interesting looking collection. Will we see some more being produced, Mr. Tricks? That's up to you. But yeah, just to point out, Glacial Visage is a collection. It's not very expensive. As you can see, it's gone down in price quite a fair bit. But specifically, that sleeping bag, I don't think we'll be seeing anything like that for quite a while. It's unique. I think it has a pretty good future ahead of it. So 13 to 14,000 subscribers. If you think differently, feel free to comment below. But interesting for sure. Right, now I look at the toy Thompson. So as I hop back over to here, take one quick look, we can see, that's the wrong one, sorry. Over to here, you know what? I think toy Thompson would actually be very similar to with what we have here. It's only slightly a little bit less, so 13 to 14,000 subscribers for that Thompson should be perfectly reasonable. Now, if we take a look at all the Thompsons this year, I do believe 13 to 14,000 subscribers would be fairly average, and we'll see that in a second when it loads up. Okay, so 12,000... 8,000, 13,000, 13,000, 9,000, 14, 15, 15, 11,000. Yeah, slightly higher than average, I'd say. But this Thompson, in particular, look at its design. Look how it stands out quite nicely. And then we're going to go ahead and remind ourselves of batteries not included. Because right now, this is currently pushing up to about almost $7, $8. Yep. I haven't got my extension on, I'm very sorry. But yeah. That is the Python. I've looked at the wrong one. Sorry about that. I meant to look at the MP5. But point still remains. Both of these are very nice, unique, interesting looking skin. Stands out very nicely. Yes, it's a toy. I know. But as you go over to here and see that yourself, it's basically the same thing. This is a collection, just to clarify, it's its own collection, sorry to say. Got that a little bit mixed up there. The MP5 that we just saw is not actually part of this collection, but very close. But anyway, the majority of these weapon skins are in the positive. The AK, the LMG, the custom SMG, not exactly holding up very well. But that Thompson, with the sales, I think it'll be fine. I think it'll be okay. Now that is not abnormal, and I should point out the burlap clothing is not abnormal. When we go approach these skins on Wednesday night, when we're considering prices and whatnot, we're going to have to sit there and question, are we actually going to jump in and buy some for ourselves, or are we just going to try and see if we can do some buy orders? I think that toy Thompson would be a perfectly fine thing to potentially consider buying. If it doesn't sell too much, maybe it'll work out all right. But a smart buy order can always lead to some success. So we'll see. But that right there, its unique design does stand out quite nicely. And you never know, with that skin now that collection getting a brand new skin, maybe Little Ranger will probably think, you know what, I could probably go back to this collection. I could go make some more toy skins. The more the merrier. So we'll see what happens next. All right, keep an eye on the workshop. Right, Berserker Boots. I was actually feeling pretty confident with those. So as we hop back over to here and take a look at that, it had 4,500 subscribers after the first 24 hours of sales. So if I were to make some comparisons, frozen crypt storage is right there. All right, I guess that might be the option that we're going to have to take. Yep, frozen crypt storage. Where were you? Or when? When were you? Where are you? I've lost you. No. There it is, right. So that was September 19, 2024. Okay, so we're going to go over to there and see how that's currently faring. And as you can see, that large box reached 11,200 subscribers. Now, when I looked at these boots, the first thing I thought of was, are these going to sell as much as the other clothing and armor pieces in the set? If it was going to sell around the same amount as the road sign gloves, I wouldn't be surprised if that was going to end up just easily rising up in price without too much of a problem. But as you can see, initially the tier 3 armor came out, 20,000 subscribers, hoodie and pants, almost 12,000 subscribers, and then the tier 2, 10 to 12,000 subscribers. So you shouldn't be too surprised to see this as the one that's struggling, because there's a lot more of these in excess compared to the rest of its collection. When the road sign gloves came out, just under 10,000 subscribers, just a little bit less, easily progressed ever so nicely. So as long as these boots sell reasonably around the same amount as the tier 2 armor and the hoodie and pants, it should be okay. I thought this was going to fall just short of this, less than 9,700 subscribers. But no, doesn't look like that's going to be the case now, does it? So as I go back over to here, oh no, sorry about that. As I go back over to September 19 again, if that pair of boots is going to potentially reach up to 11,000 subscribers, and I'm going to sit here and say 10 to 11,000, I think they should still be fine. It should still be okay, but I don't think it's going to be insane profit. Be aware of that. Also, those are not abnormal. Will those ever dip down in price? Potentially, initially, yeah, maybe that would happen. But now that we technically have like a full proper, Berserker collection now, as we approach December and January, as we see less people, as we see kids out of school for a period of time and people not working as much, so that's what I meant to say, less people working, Christmas break in the Western world and obviously New Year's for everyone, yeah, I think that collection is probably going to get bought out a little bit more. People are going to be reminded of the Berserker collection. It looks very cool, obviously referencing the anime. But yeah, I think keep an eye on it. It might actually do a very good job of just retaining value, maybe going up in price a slight amount, like $1.15. Yippee! But as time goes on, it should be okay, I'm thinking. Maybe we'll see some more weapon skins being produced now that this got a random surprise acceptance. It's up to you, Mr. Vase and Anushka. So, yeah, looks like it'll be selling potentially just around the same amount as all the other clothing and armor pieces. Obviously not tier 3. Pixel Armor Double Door. Right, it really does look like this isn't going to be selling too much. So as we hop back over to here, take a quick look. As you can see, this did 3,600 subscribers after the first 24 hours of sales. If I were to go back to the past, I do recall we had this Rainbow Pony set right there. So that is August 29. Let's go back to August 29, see how that, how far it went, August 29. And I do believe it's like 8,000 subscribers in total. Well, the poncho did 7,600 and the boonie hat did 8,500 basically. So 7.5k to 8.5k, that is really low. Oh yes, indeed it is. So if we were to just quickly go look at all the armor double doors that we have that exist, there's a decent amount of Twitch drops, but in total we only have 14. We only have 14 armor double doors. I'm going to go look at the subscriber counts very quickly, and as you can see, that Pixel Armor double door probably isn't... Yeah, it's going to probably be one of the lowest selling ones that exists. Interesting. Okay. Now, I've seen this armor double door, doesn't glow in the dark, and it is part of the Pixel collection. Unfortunately, not everybody is fond of the collection. Okay, we have to be aware of that, we do. But yeah, its low sales shouldn't be too surprising. But it is really low, especially compared to some of these more recent ones that have been accepted. It's like half as much, quite literally. That is interesting. It most likely will do a good job of retaining value. So as long as we don't see that many armored double door skins appearing anytime soon, it should be alright. It should be okay. Oh, that's got me thinking, well, it's abnormal. So, Wednesday night, we can consider prices. We can see how much was sold by then consider prices in that order, sorry. But no, that is actually looking to be very, very, very interesting. A sheer lack of sales, and potentially, if we don't see any more armored double door skins appearing as much, a sheer lack of options, that very likely will just probably graciously rise up in price. But maybe a smart bardo is still the better options. Let's just leave it to Wednesday, all right? Let's leave it to Wednesday. But yeah, 7.5 to 8.5k. And then we have the Cargo Heli Tools. Yeah, people don't care enough about hatchets and pickaxe skins, sorry to say. But yeah, we've already talked about that in my predictions and rust rotation video. Back over to here. About 3,000 subscribers each. Did we have anything that went down that low? Oh, I see the cardboard sheet in the door there. Alright, yeah, I mean, that'll probably be an alright thing to consider. So let's go back to the past once again to August 29 and making that comparison. Where did that cardboard sheet in the door end up at? It ended up at, well, only 7,000 subscribers. I'm probably just going to say 7,000 as the estimate for the tools. Now, it's still quite a bit. It's not like a ridiculously low amount. But you take a quick look at all the hatchet skins that have come out over the past few years. You take a look at all the pickaxe skins that have come out over the past few years. What do you see? Pretty much all of them went down to $1. And the only ones that are doing very nicely tend to be the ones that are manipulated. You'll see that in a second because, yep, down 48, down 40, down 50, down 47, down 50, down 48 evens, but that's sold at 99 cents, so yeah, so still $1. And then you see this one over here that's now at $10, but that is being manipulated. All these bars that you see here, people involved in the manipulation itself. Why does it randomly go back up again after being like this? Because it's a pump, it's manipulation. Anyway, you take a quick look at the pickaxes, it's the same thing. I've already talked about this. People just don't care about hatchet and pickaxe skins. You can just pick these up for about or less than $1 after a week or two. You shouldn't be surprised by that. Okay, so those are going to be a 60 cent to 80 cent buy order. Even if they only do 7,000 subscribers, it's not going to change anything. So that is that's it. That's a wrap. Quite a lot of skins this week. I did have a little bit more yapping, but it shouldn't be too far off from the estimates, I reckon, with the expectation of how much they're going to sell by. But the expectation of the behaviour of these, let's see how that plays out for the first 2 months. Maybe they're going to be okay, but after that, Easter time, things will get a little bit awkward. But how will things be for these two skins during the summer? That's another thing to consider. And how will these progress? Are they going to drop down as time goes on? Are they going to drop hard during Easter? Are they going to recover ever so nicely in the summertime? We'll see how it all plays out. And one thing I should ask everybody, out of all of these skins, which one was the one that you liked the most? Which one was the one that you were like, wow, yes, finally, we got this, yippee! Or, wow, I was surprised to see that, and I like it a lot. I'd love to hear it. Right then. So, with all of these skins, are we going to see another complete the sets with the next Rust store? I wouldn't be surprised, but nothing was officially announced. So, of course, you could go on to the Rust Workshop over to here. That will be linked in the description, my complete the sets candidates. Funnily enough, look, there you go, No Mercy Backpack, accepted, hooray! But there are still plenty more skins that could be picked. And remember, these skins that you see here, they're the representatives of their collection. Will we see, the karaoke bar skins getting another skin acceptance? We have a vending machine, we have a wooden double door. I'm just pointing this out as an example. There's many other options there. It's not just the wooden double door that's been there. Ultramarine, yeah, Tier 2 just got submitted recently. Maybe we'll have a fairly recent submission getting a continuation. So Ultramarine, Tier 2 is right there. But of course we also happen to have the sheepman double door and the armored double door. Alright, cool. So again, what would you like to see? What will happen? I'm still surprised we don't have card storage. With all the neon storages that we have, with all the large boxes, I believe we go all the way up to about 18, and they're all numbered, so they're like 01, 02, 03. We went all the way up to 18 with large boxes. This was made to be number 19, but guess what? all the other small boxes got accepted. And I do believe, what was it? Neon Fuel, that's 20. We've skipped past 19. We still don't have 19. Face Punch, we need that to properly complete the number set, please. But no, I'm very, very surprised that never got accepted. Maybe it's next week. We shall see. So it would make a lot of sense for some of these skins to be accepted. And hey, these sales, I'm pretty sure Face Punch is very happy. But there's been many instances in the past where Face Punch could have accepted skins that were submitted during that week and they didn't accept them. Where it was like, if it was accepted, they probably would have made a lot of money if they sold it, you know? Flashbacks. Anyway, so we'll see. I don't know what their choices are based on, but with this week, I know a lot of people are very happy, but could we see something next week that can make them even happier? We shall see, you know? Maybe some reptile hunter boots and gloves. That'd be pretty cool. Maybe we'll see, pirate collection jacket, or what was it? I do recall Legacy Kevlar jacket was one. Whiteout AK-47. I know a lot of people appreciate that. Anyway, plenty of things could come out. You can hope, you can dream, you can get on your knees and beg. But let's just quickly go and see how things are progressing from the previous week's Rust stores. So as you can see here, that has actually started to drop off. The Metallic Beast has started to drop off. Kind of surprising that. But all these other skins doing pretty okay, retaining most of their value at the moment. Give another week or so, look again, maybe you'll see some more things dropping off. Neon Bismuth did not magically instantly spike in price like the previous doors, but it's doing a very good job of retaining most of its value at the moment. Very nice to see. And then November 7, how are we looking over to here? The small, okay, so the Forest Raiders small box, keep an eye on this, right? Because right now that's selling for $2.42 on the Steam market. And if you've been keeping an eye on the workshop recently, there's been a few more submissions, but there's a brand new Forest Raiders furnace that was submitted. So the original one was obviously transparent. You could see quite a lot through it, and obviously from the sides you can see through it. Yeah, the skin creators thought, you know what, actually let's just go and make like a standard normal looking one. At night time it still brightens up ever so nicely. I have had a look at it. By the time you're watching this video, there'll probably be a short video of me showcasing this. Anyway, why was that submitted? Maybe Face Punch wanted it, but they didn't want the original version and probably asked to get that made instead. We shall see. Anyway, Forest Raiders Furnace. Yes, if that were to be accepted, things would look very, very nice for that small box right there. Greening Area Double Door still holding up quite nicely. Speed Rage down a little bit. I'm surprised to see Harbour Seal's already gone down by a third. I've been dumped on. I have bought like 20 of these already. I had to remove my buy order. And then, yeah, some of these prices have dropped off a fair bit. Oh, dear. And then, of course, October. How's the... Oh dear, look at all of that. Now these Nightmare Clown Burlap Clothing pieces, they've dropped off a fair bit. Yes, indeed they have, with the arrival of Blackout. Ooh, oh dear. Anyway, enjoy the skins. Best of luck with you and your investments. And remember, all the estimates for the expected sales are in the description. You can see it in the chapters. I always do that, don't forget about that. And let's see what happens with the next Rust store. Let's see what happens indeed. Catch you later. See you, goodbye.